thought I was ready. I had the money, I had the plan, and I was ready to go until I realized there was one really important thing that I forgot. This is what Sarah told me at 62 when she retired and realized she didn't have it all planned out. Today we're going to talk about timing regret, retiring too early or too late, the loss of purpose, social network gaps, health planning oversights, and financial surprises. John retired at 65 after driving a truck for 35 years. He was ready until 6 months later, and he realized, what am I going to do now? I'm bored to tears. It wasn't long after that he suddenly became an Uber driver to fill those gaps, to have something to do, not just to supplement his income, but that was definitely a benefit. He realized, maybe I retired too soon. But then Jackie, who waited until she was 65 because of insurance issues, left a very stressful job, long hours on her feet. And at 65, she realized maybe I waited too long because she had health issues, mental health issues, physical issues, and all those dreams of traveling and camping and hiking were starting to fade. She was pretty devastated. Retiring too early or too late, it really depends. It's not about age. It depends on so many factors. Yes, financial. Yes, health. What your dreams are. What your relationship is, and how close you are in age or into retirement, and what your benefits, how they can supplement your family relationships. So many different things. You have to talk about it all the time because things change. Even as you are retired, there's a definitely change in the status. Doesn't take much, and there's a shift. It's a continual transition from working 9 to 5 to being home to adding different elements into your life and into aging. Filling your days with purpose. Joyce worked 30 years at that desk job, and she worked hard, and she couldn't wait for that break. And suddenly she realized that comfy chair in that cluttered house, because she was not Susie Homemaker, in front of that television just wasn't doing it for her. And she was having some issues. It was not good. She was not moving. She was not socializing. She was not finding any purpose in her life. When the job was gone, her definition and title that defined her life, who she was, had changed, and she wasn't liking it. She realized, I've got a problem and I have to do something about this. So unfortunately, she was involved in a church. It was her home church of many years, but she was never really very active. So she stepped out, and she found that her church had an after-school children's extended care program. She found her dream. She was connecting with children. She was giving to them. She was helping teach them. She was interacting and playing. And it wasn't long until she wasn't quite sure who was getting the best benefit. Were they getting a benefit from her, or was she receiving what she needed? A purpose and a contribution to life, to people, making a difference. So other things that can be considered is volunteering with skills from your career. Is there something that you do in your career that you have done that you can share with other people and train on a volunteer level and give them insight? Mentoring younger people, which is what Joyce did. Pursuing that passion project, something you've always wanted to do. One thing I wanted to do forever, and it just hasn't worked out, is I wanted to go on a missions trip to another country. And that was a dream, and it's fading really rapidly as I age. Being more present with family. You have time, even if you're long distance, making time and really making some strong connections. I have a granddaughter who just graduated from college. We will not see each other much more in this life because of the distance in her job. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. She and I have different political platforms. I so want to have a discussion with her and have her educate me on her views and why, and let's talk about this so I can understand better and not just always the news. And then learning new skills without a career pressure. Skills on the computer. If you want to learn something, dive in. There's so much to learn. I'm constantly doing other things that I go down rabbit trail. Find purpose, and even if it's just learning and knowing that you're growing and doing better. The key is starting to develop these interests before you retire. If you're already retired, are you connecting with any of these points? Have they made sense to you? Are you concerned about any of them? You know that coffee break crew that you work with every day? If you didn't realize it yet, they're gone. They're really not part of your morning routine, are they? And so therefore, you're not catching up on what went on the weekend and where they're going for vacation. Those connections have disappeared because they were work-related. I learned a long time ago that when something changes, something big changes. Somebody leaves the office and you might be best friends, but your connection is the office. Somebody else has been home on maternity leave and you talk on the phone all the time and they go back to work. That connection starts to get thinner and thinner because you're not talking on the phone. You used to stop over at somebody's house all the time, but they moved. You are not making that connection anymore. It changes. So when we leave work, the things in life, everyday life that keep us connected have disappeared. And unless you intentionally make a plan to keep it going, it's not going to happen. It's really important. You do need friendships and you need community in retirement. So you need to start establishing them in that retirement mode, even if you're still working. I have a friend who is a tennis player, and so she has stayed within a tennis group for many years, and they all play tennis with other clubs and stuff. That is her big connection. She started having breakfasts with other people who are retired once a month. So she works really hard to keep connected. It is an effort and it is important. You have to have a plan for that social networking. It keeps you sane. So the mistake is not losing relationships. It's not having a plan to step into new ones. Planning for those healthcare oversights. First of all, if you don't have insurance that's going to carry you through from 62 to 65, that's something you're going to have to plan. When you retire, if you lose your insurance and you don't get Medicare till 65, that's something that can be really major. And then there's supplemental, and there's plan A, B, C, and D. What do they cover? Which ones are the best for you? Then you've got the deductibles and the co-pays. And do you have dental insurance or eye care? What about those extras? What does your insurance really cover? The main things that people really start to realize that they goofed on was not maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Preventive medicine. And then because if you do go regularly like they want you to, then you catch things sooner before they become a big problem, like skin cancer. My husband had a very strange thing last year, and so we both went to the dermatologist, and he had that needed some surgery. Going for that preventive plan is so crucial. And if that hadn't come out on his ankle, and it was really a scary looking thing, just popped up, neither of us could have been a couple more years before we went to the dermatologist. Go in regularly allows you to get shocked by some things, and you have to realize that, oh, I'm aging and things happen, but it's smart, and they are regrets. If they have a plan and they can go to the doctors for free because it's covered, and they don't do it, and then it's really late and they're in trouble. So that's the regrets even 60-year-olds have, that they have not taken care of themselves and they have not gotten into a routine of trusting the doctors and depending on that. It's not just about having insurance, it's about understanding what your insurance covers and being prepared for those additional hidden costs. If you're already retired, does this match some of your experiences? Are you remembering some of these regrets that you had to work through? Share what some of your regrets are in the comments as we go along. I know everybody understands that there's a mortgage and there's utilities, and we plan for that. We've always known that that's going to be the case, and the taxes and the insurances. But are we prepared for those changes in taxes and the changes in the insurances? But it's the $50 and the $75 subscriptions, the streaming and the clubs, and things break down. When you need to replace the appliances and the plumber. All these things all of a sudden add up. And then you want to go to an event. You want to go out, your friends want you to go to the movies with them. Well, it's getting higher. And even my sister-in-law says, well, it used to be like $11, $12. And this is now where she's living, they cannot go out to eat for less than $20 a person, and that's to the diner. So expenses do change and creep up on us. Yeah, but guess what? The income doesn't change. So hopefully some of you have your money invested with good return and income that's coming in. Not all of us have that, but we are still okay. It's not just about having an emergency fund. It's being prepared for when the air conditioning goes out and you need new tires on the car, when things all pile on at the same time. You might be okay with it, you might have the funds, but mentally overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed with that extra cost, and it's an adjustment. All the transitions we face in retirement are exciting and sometimes inconvenient. I think that's what it is. Just be prepared. Retirement's amazing, but there are regrets. And regrets are only something that you can work on and improve on. And so let's make sure that the 60-year-old regrets do not become our 70-year-old regrets, which is what I'm going to talk about next Monday, the regrets of 70-year-olds. If you haven't watched the video from last week that tells you about my 5 surprises that I wasn't expecting and prepared for in retirement, check that out. And if you haven't, just please subscribe. Thanks. Have a great day. And God bless. Bye-bye.